My name's John Cherry. We're at Groundswell, the no-till and regenerative agriculture show, as they call it. We're farmed about 2,500 acres, and it's 2,000 arable acres and 500 permanent pasture. And then we've got some temporary lays, like this is a herbal lay. We've got 150 odd acres, I think, this year in herbal lay, in various different stages through the. We're still experimenting with how to make it work and then how to come out of it and what benefits we get from there. We've been 100% no-till since 2010. So what is it now, 2019? This is, yeah, we're going into coming up to 10 years of continuous no-till, and it gets better all the time. It's just we've got, well, there's about 400 animals on the farm at the moment, but we've 130 odd cows and all their young ones, so it's like, they do terribly well on it. I mean, they're all looking glossy and healthy and happy and contented. Well, they're not that contented because they can see me and they think they're going to move, but yeah, there's lots and lots of different reasons for a herbal lay, and it's just, and we're not organic, but we treat it organically. We don't spray it or put any fertilizer on because it's full of fertility building stuff itself. So, and the cows love it, and they love it and they thrive on it. Yeah, I mean, they just, yeah. The attraction of herbal lays is that, for us, is that, but it's a variety of different plants growing the different root architecture underground. This soil, there's a soil pit over here on the Cotswold stand, and we always think of this as quite a sort of strange, heavy bit of ground, but actually there's only a foot of clay and then it's chalk underneath. So the nice thing is if we can have deep rooting things to break through and bring minerals up from lower down, it's a variety of different things will grow in different times of year, different weather conditions. There's 19 species, I think, in the Cotswold mix. We love no-till because we want to have living roots in the ground at all times if possible, and not disturb the ground and keep the ground covered to improve soil health, and the herbal lay ticks all those boxes beautifully. But then when we go back into the arable rotation, we want to keep the soil undisturbed, but use that lovely soft bit at the top to plant the seeds in, grow a crop with the minimal number of, we don't want to have to fertilise or spray more than we possibly have to. And that becomes much easier with a healthy soil, and the no-till helps us get there. Yeah, we planted this last year at late September, early October, and it's well, we're managing them in a mob grazing wedge. I'm just giving them a little bit. There's about 90 cows out here with calves at foot and a couple of bulls, one who's sulking up there, and I'm giving them about half a hectare every 12 hours, moving them twice a day. And the idea being is that unfortunately we've only got 2 central water points here, so we can't persuade them to stay exactly on the patch they're meant to be. We have to give them a run back to the water tank. But the idea is that when they move on to a small patch as a big mob, they don't cherry pick the delicious things they want to eat. They have to eat everything in front of them before their neighbours steal it. So you get a better grazing. They've eaten all the seed heads near enough. They've left a certain amount of standing stuff. So the plants have still got solar panels taking in the sunlight, and they can grow away quicker. And the rest of the ground is covered with trodden grasses and broadleaves and cow poo and pea and fertility, and so it'll all come back nice and quick. There's a lot of black grass in this field, and one of the reasons for fencing off half of it, and well, not electric fence, putting it down a herbal lay to get rid of the black grass, as well as adding fertility. We started doing groundswell, and we thought, well, someone ought to do a show for no-till farmers, and just have the no-till drills demonstrating in the field, and maybe a couple of talks and things. So we sat around for ages saying someone should do something about it, and eventually it occurred to us no one else was going to do it, so we might as well do it ourselves. And it obviously struck a bit of a chord. It went down very well, so we carried on doing it. And an awful lot of the no-tillers in this country, we're making it as we go along. We've taken ideas and advice from people in different countries and advisors, but actually, there's no mainstream advice on how to do this. It's a very much a farmer-to-farmer, peer-to-peer thing. So we've got farmers from all over Europe and in fact the world coming, and they're all chatting to each other. It's a fantastic atmosphere so all the early adopters all sharing ideas of what they've done and what they could do and potential. And you go to lovely Frederick Thomas from France giving a talk, and everyone's heads are buzzing with all the potential. His conditions are completely different, but the principles are very much the same. Just not disturbing the soil, keeping it covered, all this kind of stuff is universal good practice. But it's just finding those last little techniques to make it work on your farm under your weather conditions. My advice really would to anybody who's thinking of doing it is, well, I mean, obviously come to the groundswell show because it's enormous fun, but actually just kind of get on and do it, because it's well, the sensible advice is to take 10% of your land and give it a go. We did that, and we played around for a couple of years with little patches, and then we realised that it just made so much sense, and it appealed to us of inner laziness, thinking, well, why spend all day sitting on a tractor with a power harrow when you don't need to? And so it was another reason we did the show, because we had far too much spare time, because we weren't wasting our time cultivating the soil. So advice to people would be, get on and do it, and it's so much fun, and the people who do it are so nice. It's like